Welcome back to RBD Block Challenge. I'm Cindy Cloward, and today we are working on block number 15. It's called a Bright Spark, and it's designed by Amy Smart. Now, this block is a little more of a challenge, but not to worry, I'm going to take you through step by step on easy ways to complete this block. This is what it looks like in our confetti cottons. This is what it looks like in our beautiful batiks, and we're ready to get started. You know the drill. Download the pattern from the Riley Blake Designs website. Again, the block is called A Bright Spark, and it is block number 15 by Amy Smart. I'm going to put the pattern to the side, but you will notice there's a lot of prep work in this block. There's a lot of pieces that come together so beautifully. So take a look at this. We've got hourglass blocks, lots of half square triangles, and we're gonna get started on the half square triangles. So let me grab my glasses, and it does tell you the first step is to mark corner to corner your B, your C, your H, and your A squares. So all of these are gonna be half square triangles, but we are gonna get started with your G and C. So we're making half square triangles 2 at a time method, and if you don't have a Seam So Easy guide, you're gonna mark this corner to corner. That is gonna be your guide, and you're gonna sew 1/4 inch on each side of your marked line. But you know I am a fan of our Seam So Easy guide, so I'm gonna go ahead and just use that and skip a step of marking all of my squares. So I'm just gonna line that up on the side of the foot and on this 1/4 inch line down here, maybe just a skosh less. And I'm gonna sew down on each side of this unit. Turn it over. Okay, you are a pro at all these half square triangles because we've been doing a lot throughout this sew along. So if you've marked your line, that is your cut line now. So cut on that line, and I'm just gonna use my 1/4 inch plus ruler to trim down. And then I'm gonna trim off my dog ears. All right, those are good to go. And let's move on to our next half square triangles. H and I, which is this light blue and then darker blue. Again, those are gonna already be marked if you marked them at the beginning, and then a B and I squares. And we are going to make these 2 at a time for this slightly larger size half square triangles. Right, clip those threads, and we are gonna just repeat what we did for our last 2 at a time half square triangles. Cut on our cut line, or use your 1/4 inch plus ruler and cut off your dog ears. Or you can trim off those dog ears later. That's perfectly fine to do. Okay, those are good to go. Now, the pattern has you press at this time. Again, you're welcome to follow along the pattern. You get to sew with me at real time, and I'm gonna show you how I'm assembling this all together. So the next step I jump to is grabbing our A square and our E square. And since this is a little bit longer, I am going to mark this corner to corner. because it kind of hangs off the Seam Sew Easy Guide. So I'm going to mark this corner to corner in 2 directions, going diagonally. And this is your guide. Again, this is your guide. And we're going to make 8 at a time half square triangles. So before was the 2 at a time method. You've already done the 8 at a time previously, but we're doing it again. So this is a nice refresher. Again, I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch, maybe slightly less on each side of this to make 8 at a time. Okay, this is what it looks like. It should look familiar to you. And now we are going to trim down. So that can be your cut line. So you can cut down that way, cut down this side. Okay, we're halfway done. Now I do 1 at a time, and this is how you get all 8. You're gonna line this up. Actually, I'm gonna line it on the other side, not the plus side with the dog ear side. I line up the bottom here and make it cross that intersection at top where the threads cross. And you cut them 1 at a time. And then you've got your 2 half square triangles. And then I am going to just trim off my dog ears at this point. Again, when you trim these up, you can trim those dog ears at that time. I just like to do them at this step. All right, take all of these half square units over to our pressing station. We're gonna press them all at once. Okay, starting with this first unit we worked on, I'm going to press to the white side. Now this is gonna become really important. If nesting your seams is not that important, then you don't have to pay attention to this, but I always try and nest all my seams. So I'm going to give you tips of which direction to press your seams. I'm pressing these all to the white side, which we usually press to the dark, but today we're pressing all these units to the white, this particular unit. Okay, those are pressed to the light. Now these units, I'm pressing all to the dark. So let me just heat up those stitches. Let me press to the dark. All right, now we are gonna press all these to the light for now. So we're pressing to the white. Okay, Let's take all these units back. We need to square them up. The ones with the dark blue are going to be 3 inches. These are all 2.5 inches. So this is a step you cannot skip if you want your block to turn out the correct size. And these little 2.5 inch square up units are perfect to get them perfectly in place. The correct size. So I'm going to square up all these 2.5 inches, and then I'll meet you back here when I get to my 3-inch units. My 2.5 inch half square triangles are finished. Now I've got to trim up my 3-inch, and since I don't have a 3-inch, I have a 3.5 inch ruler. I'm going to use a regular Cute Cups ruler and just pull it into the corner and make sure I've got an accurate 3-inch. Now these are really close to being accurate, so there's hardly anything to trim off. That one has a little bit more. But again, this isn't a super important step. Okay. Let's clean off our workstation. And now it's time to assemble this unit right here. This is what it looks like finished, and it's going to be really important to press it this direction so all of our seams nest and the block is flatter. So I'm going to give you a lot of my tips that I use. Again, if you want to open up your seams, do your own thing, you are more than welcome to. But this is what worked for me, and I really liked how it came together. So we're going to make 4 of these units. And so I am such a visual person. I like to lay it out on the design board. And this one's a little more particular how you sew it. So I'm going to work with just 1 unit at a time. And then I'll leave a little space in between, and then I'll lay my next unit out. I'm still chain piecing, but I'm going to sew this unit at a time, leave a little space in my chain, and then work on the next one, laying it out one at a time. So you make sure, look at the pattern, and these are going all in the right direction. Then I flip this corner one over the bottom piece, the ones that are on the bottom, and then I flip this over here. And I'm actually going to sew down this side. So I'm going to turn it a little bit and just pin it to remind me which corner I'm starting with. Now you can mix yourself up, so make sure you pay attention to which side you're sewing. If you wanted to add another pin at the bottom, so you're very clear on which side, that might be a good idea to do. Again, I recommend a scant 1/4 inch because there's a lot of seams coming together, which is just a thread or two less than a 1/4 inch. That 1/4 inch, that scant, is usually eaten up by your fold, so you're usually right on if you do a scant 1/4 inch. Okay, I'm going to clip my threads in between. I'm just clipping in between the 2 units, but I still left a thread between these 2. And it's kind of like your guide. You can lay it out. Again, I already have my 2 completed ones. Save us time on watching me film all 4. And now it's really important which way your seams go for this next step. So I'm going to flip it over here, and this sea glass, this lighter color, is going to go towards the sea glass color, which means this is going to go opposite, and it's going to go toward this Riley teal right there. This is a really important step. I want you to click those in place. Again, that goes, you can finger press or you can take it to your pressing station and press it down if you prefer. Again, we'll flip that over. That's going to go that direction. And then this is going to go towards the Riley teal on this direction. And we just have one more seam on each of these units. Okay, clip through our threads in between each unit. Let's take it to our pressing station. Again, I loosen up those stitches. Let's open it up. And now I'm going to press this towards that other sea glass. So it's going to press to sea glass, press to sea glass. Again, this is an important step if you want to nest those seams. Okay, I hope you're going to thank me later for taking this extra step. Okay, I'm going to put this away, and now we need to make sure that all of these units right here are 4.5 inches. So let me clean up my workstation. Put this down here. And let's take a look. The most important thing to see is this corner half square triangle. There's a 1/4 inch on each side. So we get our little square up ruler, we kind of line it up, make sure there's a 1/4 inch, and then we're gonna look around all sides and see if there's any trimming to be done. If there's no trimming, then good on you. I'm just gonna trim a little bit. But what you don't want to do is you make sure this is in the right spot, this is in the right spot, and you don't change it once you've looked at all your sides. Otherwise, you're gonna make your block too small. That's good. Isn't that a work of art? Isn't that a lot of fun? Okay, I'm just gonna make sure the rest of these are 4.5 inches. This one's pretty good. Okay, looking good. So all of those units on the corner are finished. The next thing we're gonna work on is this hourglass block. Now this year, I don't think we've made any hourglass blocks. So let me give you a quick reminder of how to create an hourglass block. Now we've already pressed these to the dark side, and we're combining this unit, this half square triangle, with the white. So we're going to put them right sides together, and they're going to be, click into place, they're going to be opposite. And how you can make sure you're going to get that hourglass unit that you want is you're going to pull it back like this. And one side of the hourglass is white and one side is this light blue. So that is correct. Then I think it's important to mark this time and not just use your Seam So Easy guide. So I am going to pin this in place so it doesn't shift. And I'm going to mark this two-tone blue piece corner to corner. Now this is your, I don't need that rotary cutter. This is your guide. It's not, and it will be your cut line, but you're gonna sew a 1/4 inch on each side of this. So that's one. Again, reminder, right sides together. They should click into place. And then you pull it back and there's that hourglass. That's exactly what we want to see. And we're gonna stitch across that hourglass corner to corner. And again, it's a good idea to mark it. There we go. And see, if you were to pull back this side, you wouldn't see anything like that. So we are going to mark that corner to corner, and you could mark it before you put pins in place. That might be a little easier to do. And let's take to the machine and sew a 1/4 inch on each side of that marked line. And I do, again, just a scant less. Okay, let's bring it back here. I clip both my threads. And before you cut, make sure you check again to make sure you've got that lovely hourglass, and we do. So now we can cut. And I'm gonna get my rotating mat. That is your cut line. But you can also use your 1/4 inch plus ruler and cut off your dog ears. All right, we're getting to our last one. Okay, let's go press these open, and then we're gonna bring them back and square them up to 2.5 inches. Okay, we are going to press to this light blue side. And then let me show you, after we press to that light blue side, those stitches are a little warm. They're nice, kind of warmed up and light. And I just kind of open up the center like this. And you have this cute little floor patch in the middle, and then I finger press that. And now all my seams are kind of in a pinwheel, and they're all going different directions, so this block lies a lot flatter, this little hourglass unit. So I'm going to press it like that, and then repeat it 3 times. Okay, let's square these up to 2.5 inches. And again, that's what I love about this ruler. It's got this little spot for it to click into place. Let's click those into place. It has the perfect hourglass shape already. See that hourglass? Let's put it on top here with that little flower in the center. And then you're gonna have to trim around all 4 sides on most of these, just to make sure. And then you've got the perfect 2.5 inch hourglass. I'm gonna finish up these, trimming these up, and then I'll meet you back here. All right, we are finished with these. Okay, now we need to do one more thing before we start assembling our block. We need to take our D squares and we're going to sew those on the top of our hourglass, or the hourglass that's white. So right sides together, we're going to sew that on the top. So let's chain piece all these at the same time. All right, cut your threads in between, and we're going to take it to our pressing station, and we're going to press to the white square. So we're pressing to the white square. Okay, let's take these back here. Now, this is the perfect time to use this 1/4 inch plus ruler, because these should all measure 2.5 inches wide. So you can just do a quick look. They're supposed to be 2.5 by 4.5. Give it a quick measure. This one's slightly outside of that, so I might just trim a little bit on this side. Do you see how that's ever so slight? I'm going to just trim it now. That looks good. 2.5 inches, that looks good. Oops. That looks good. Okay, let's start assembling our block. We've got all of our units created, and it's time to start laying everything out. Those are going to go in the corner. And then this is the J square that's going to go right in the center. And then these are going, the blue touches that middle square. Very good. I am going to sew this strip right here. Or I could sew it all together. I think I will sew it all together. So I'm going to sew this onto here. And then I'm going to flip it the other way to sew it. How about that? Now this is where all your hard work is going to pay off, because everything should be squared up and pressed the right directions so you can nest the last of these seams. So we're going to lift this up like here. That nests beautifully right there. And you can put that up on top. So we're going to sew down there. There's no nesting here. We just need to make sure that block lines up. I am just going to put a pin so it doesn't move there. And then this bottom unit, again, I just love it when a block comes together. I find such joy in nesting my seams. And I'm going to line it up on the top. There we go. Now I'm going to take this to the machine, sew down this side, and come back. Okay, let's open that up. I don't clip my threads in between. And this is looking good. We're going to flip this over here. Turn it around. We'll sew the other side. I pin at the top and in that intersection. All right, there again, nesting, love it. Just love it. This block looks very complicated, but I hope you realize when you break it down step by step that it really is a nice block to sew. Okay, let's open it up like this. It's looking so good. 2 more seams. Flip this over here. Again, we have all these intersections on this time. I'm going to pin every one of them, and every one of them we can nest. We'll press here. Well, it's already pressed. Just nest that seam right there. Okay, other side. Okay, let's go sew our last 2 seams. All right, let's take it to our pressing station and open it up. Oh, isn't that a beauty? All of our points look perfect. Let's give it a good press. Again, there's so many intersections. There's so many seams to nest. Take the time to give your block a nice press. There we go. And this block is finished. It really is a thing of beauty. Let's make sure it is squared up to the right size, which we've worked hard on it all along the way, so it should be about perfect. Let me take a look. What we really want to see are these points a 1/4 inch from the edge. And it's looking pretty good. And I don't think I'm gonna cut a thing on this block. It feels good to finish this block. There was a lot of piecing, and Amy Smart always does such a nice job on quilt blocks and patterns. She's known as Diary of a Quilter, and I can't wait to see what she does with her fabrics and her own version of this block. So congratulations if you're well on your way to finish this RBD block challenge. This was a challenge today. Join me next time for block number 16. It's designed by Tara Reed and it's called Town Square. See you next time.